Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
How you guys doing? We are here jumping into our season 2 Stranger Things wrap up. Really, we're down to the last 2 episodes. So today we are talking about episode 8. Next week we will talk about season 9 and how it all comes to an end. But today,
episode 9. Season 2.
That's correct. Episode 9. But today we're going to talk about episode 8. I can't stop saying season. The Mind Flayer, which is a term that we brought up last week for the first time.
That's right.
And here it is. Like, it was coming in the pipeline anyway. So now we know we've got a word and we can change our vocabulary going forward.
Yep.
But I guess I do want to say, before we go any farther, I know we mentioned last week that we have seen some of the episodes of season 5, or all. I think Amanda's seen them all. I've seen some. But just to be clear, we'll kind of run down season 5 in the timeline.
Yes.
So we won't give any spoilers here to season 5. If you are watching along with us right now and season 5 is just launched and you're looking for season 5 info, like, we will have that coming up. But we'll do it in chronological order so that this story kind of gets told. So if anybody is listening to them all the way through, they're not being interrupted with spoilers from season 5 in the middle of their season 2 rewatch.
Yes.
So look for those in the future. But as for now, we'll jump into season 2, episode 8.
Yeah, great point. So don't worry about getting information accidentally here. We are definitely excited to talk about that when we get there. But what we're kind of doing, being a rewatch podcast, we're watching it for the first time, on our own, and then we will rewatch it and share our thoughts and feedback with you when we get there. So, we're excited to talk about that eventually, but we do cover 1 episode per week. So, I mean, we'll get there quicker than you think because these seasons are only 8 or 9 episodes long. So it really won't take too long to get there. But yeah. And it was funny, the timing of last week. I just had this feeling, the term Mind Flayer, I really wanted to get into explaining what that was. And I guess my timing was kind of funny on that because here we are. This episode is named The Mind Flayer. But just to give a quick recap of where we left this group, if we remember last week, we had that entirely 11-centric episode where 11 was tracking down Kali and her group of friends in that warehouse. They were interested in using 11's powers to get back at the bad men from the Department of Energy, but 11 doesn't really agree with Kali's methods, so 11 really decided to leave the group, escape the cops that were after them in the end there, and join back up with her people in Hawkins. So that's really where we left things, is we just knew that 11 was on her way back home.
And we also left it, our last podcast, with it being the worst episode in Stranger Things by such a long distance.
Yeah.
That both of us were trying to rate it lowly and didn't rate it low enough because
I know.
Like, we were both trying to figure out, like, how low are the fans going to go? I was mid-7. Amanda actually got into the 6s at a 6.9, and it was a 6 flat. And that's what I said. I was like, I won't be surprised if this is a 1. I mean, it can't be a 1, but it's bad.
I think when you're doing ratings, at least for me, like, I think of the show as a whole too, and it's like, Stranger Things, I love Stranger Things, so the idea of giving it a really low score seems weird, but then again, when you think about that episode on its own, I mean, I think 6.9, I agree with the people, because it's like, I was even generous with the 6.9. I'm thinking, what was I thinking there? I could have easily gone into the 5s, which I think obviously a lot of people did.
Yeah. My 7.5 seems insane right now because I agree. Like, I agree. Yeah. And like the lowest we had seen was like a 7.9 or so. And now we just dropped all the way down to 6. And I'm like, okay, that's real. That is a clear message to everybody that, hey, we don't like this. And I think the reason is you didn't have everybody. You only had 11 and a couple snapshots of a couple of the characters. You need everybody. It's an ensemble cast. Making an episode just about one person, I don't care which person it is, doesn't matter.
Well, and the timing was kind of funny, Eric, right? Because we like to talk about two shows right now. We have kind of our funny show going on one of our podcasts where we're, well, the same podcast, but different series where we're talking about Friends. And then we have this more serious, creepy show that we're talking about here with Stranger Things. But on our Friends podcast episodes as well, we had a really low rated score there too. The lowest one that we've seen, which was like an entirely flashback related episode. And it was just funny timing that both of these shows that overall get very high ratings from us and from the people who have rated on IMDb. We just saw this like wave go down where it's like, oh yeah, these are both in the 6s, which for stellar shows is very low. So yeah, the timing was
in all honesty, it just shows that people like what they like. And if you change the formula and make it very different.
Yeah.
Like that's not great.
Yeah.
The episode before that, The Spy had gotten a 9.1 from the Stranger Things audience on IMDb, and that had everybody in it except 11.
Yeah. Right.
So then to come back with like, okay, but this is what 11 was doing the whole time and just focus on 11.
Yeah.
You could have found a way to weave those two stories together, I think.
Right. So that's where we kick things off at chapter 8 of season 2 of Stranger Things, The Mind Flayer. And this is where we start right back where we expected to start from the last episode, which is where the demogorgon was hanging off the edge of that cliff where the elevator had gone down into the upside down. And now Hop is staring at this demogorgon making its way up through this I guess through the channel, through the tunnel. And
through the tunnel.
Yeah, and it's not just one demogorgon, it is a lot of them. And this demogorgon, it's creeping up and looking right at him through the glass, and Dr. Owens is saying, he can't get through, it's this like tempered glass. And then, as I said, countless demogorgons are climbing up, they are all bashing at the glass, and now it appears to be breaking. So they are clearly really strong and really forceful. They're busting through this glass, and then everyone in the lab just starts to make a run for it, right?
Dr. Owens, seriously.
It's fine.
I understand that you've got like the toughest glass on the planet that you've got here, if that's what you think it is. These are not creatures from this universe.
No.
What gives you the thought process that this glass will hold?
I know.
I just can't even imagine.
I know. And this scene was so reminiscent of the pilot episode of Stranger Things too, where like all the technicians, although now there's a whole group of people here, but they're running for the elevator and they are like going for that elevator button, like, please let the doors close, as you know.
That's not gonna make it.
Oh, they're not gonna make it. This is not looking so good.
Not gonna make it.
So then we're back with Mike in the other room saying to Will, and also saying to Joyce and Hopper, Will is the spy. Like, we have to sedate Will, because then the Mind Flayer, as we will come to know him by very shortly, won't be able to see what's going on. And Will does not want to be sedated because obviously he's also sort of possessed, for lack of a better word, I guess, by this other demon. And he is screaming, and Joyce is looking at Will saying, do you know who I am? And finally, after multiple attempts, he looks at her kind of like dead in the eyes and saying, Mom. But it is not Will's voice. I mean, and she knows right away. She looks at him, she's like, hold him down. Like, that's it. That's all I need to know. Like, that is not my son right now. And Hopper comes in and picks up Will and they then are moving to this other room, which is just more surrounded by cinder blocks. I mean, still has this flimsy wooden door, but it is more secure. And then they're also with all of the TVs where they can look on to see what's happening in the rest of the lab.
It looks like a security camera.
Yes.
Like it's a security room
Yes.
where someone would sit and monitor what's going on around the building.
Exactly.
And all the different cameras.
Yeah.
And they kind of duck in there and are able to just watch all the chaos ensue from around all the different areas. And then the power goes out.
Yes.
And we get the credits.
That's right.
We're about 4 minutes in.
Yeah, the Department of Energy now has no energy, seemingly. It's dark.
And this is just a really... This is my favorite type of opening to a Stranger Things episode, where it's just straight chaos right out of the gate.
Agreed.
Like, you've already jumped in, and it is... it's happening. Like, get you attached to this episode real quick, for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we have this great scene right after the credits, which is very telling. We start to get a peek into Max and Billy's home life. And I just appreciate it because all we've really seen from Billy so far is that he's a psycho and you're not really sure what's going on there, or like you don't really get any depth into who he is. But here at Max and Billy's house, we finally get to meet their parents, because I guess they do exist. And I also appreciated when they're coming in, they flash to the Sears bag, Eric. I was like, oh yeah, Sears.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Genuinely though, this was important because I always remember thinking the first time watching this that Billy and Max are just like kids on the run.
Yeah.
Like they're not really attached to any adults at all.
Right.
They're just like in the wind from somewhere. And we're going to find out all about that. And then all of a sudden these adults show up out of nowhere. And I'm like, where have you been?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But apparently they're there.
Yeah.
And you get a real good look at why Billy is the way that he is.
Yeah. Love the scene of Billy in his room smoking a cigarette while he's looking at himself in the mirror, winking at himself, like just being ridiculous. Apparently he is getting ready for a date with some lucky lady. But the dad is banging at his door, screaming and saying, open this door right now. We can't find Maxine. Her window is open. Where is she? And Billy's just saying, I don't know. I'm sure she's fine. You guys are here late anyway, and I have a date, so I have to get out of here. Well, the dad at this point is barging into the room and slamming Billy against the wall after he's saying, Billy is supposed to be taking care of his sister, essentially. He's supposed to be looking after Max, and he's just now getting pummeled by his dad. He's hitting him again against the wall and telling him to apologize to Susan. I mean, this is just such a terrible, classic, domestic abuse, just abuse to your, the children at home where, I don't know, it's just gotten so out of hand that the dad is normalizing it here. And it's just brutal. And the mom is even saying, or Susan, who isn't Billy's mom. So these kids, you're learning, obviously, this is her mom, and Billy, this is his dad. So that's why you hear them saying, well, she's not my sister, because, they don't have a blood relation. They're step siblings here.
No. And so it's normal for the dad. He's made it completely normal that this is okay.
Yes.
Billy has clearly lived this lifestyle for a very long time. Max's mom is definitely in this weird spot where she doesn't know where to overstep and where not to overstep. And she's afraid, I'm sure, that if she oversteps in the wrong direction, then she ends up on the other side of this as well.
Yeah.
And so she's not really saying anything to help Billy, but she's not stopping it either.
No, it's awful. She looks afraid.
It's real bad.
Yeah,
yes. Everybody's afraid of Billy's dad, for sure.
This guy is clearly the true psycho, and Billy's psychotic behavior is just like, trickling down off of what he's learned and experienced from his father. So
Billy's treatment of Max is specifically because of how he gets treated. Because now he's got to cancel his date and he's got to go out and find Max. Mm-hmm. And he's been told to do so in the worst possible way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now he's pissed, driving all over the place, trying to find Max. And if he does find her, what's he going to do? Mm-hmm. He's going to be real angry, and who knows how he'll lash out.
Yep.
Because it's just like this anger rolls downhill, right? And so the dad's anger has rolled onto Billy, and Billy's going to roll it onto somebody else too, and Max is probably going to be the one that takes it.
That's right. I mean, yeah.
That's how it seems right now.
The dad's saying that he had to cancel his date with that whore that he was going out with and be the good brother that he is. It's like, what the heck? This is out of control. Well, I mean, this is bad.
Here's the thing. Like,
wow.
They've got to do that. Like, when you think of it from the show perspective, the show wants to showcase how Billy got this way because they clearly have plans for Billy down the line, but he's been a small-time character for the most part in this entire season. So you can't give him a ton of screen time because you've got the whole Department of Energy falling apart and everything else that we're going to talk about throughout this episode, which takes more precedence than, character building Billy. Yeah. So Billy's dad has got to be the worst possible person in as short a time period as possible that you can go, oh, I get it a little bit. I see how this has happened. This doesn't necessarily clear Billy of his actions, but I understand how he has become this type of person.
I was reading, Eric, that this actor who played Billy was all about, like, he wanted this scene to be very intense with the dad too, really to give his character more depth. He was very excited about this scene because he felt like he had been very flat and just sort of one note without an explanation for so long.
It's true, though.
And he was like, rough me up. Like, he wanted it to be, like, physical and very intense. And I feel like he did a really good job here.
I think he's right. Yeah. He needed it to be brutal. That gives Billy dimension. It gives him some something to, make him a sympathetic character.
Right. Yeah.
All of a sudden, when going into this, we just saw this, like you said, one-dimensional psychopath for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. Well, now we know why.
Yeah. And often that is the case with children. I mean, they're older kids, but it's like, where is this behavior coming from? I mean, you might have those.
Yeah, but this happens with older kids.
Yeah, you might have those scenarios where, that kid is just, we're not really sure where that started, but oftentimes it leads back to something that they've experienced.
It comes back to somebody. Yeah, somebody in some experience. And this is one of those scenes that, I mean, there's a lot that goes on in this episode, but I would have called it a show stealer of a scene. But this show's got a lot of moments. So it didn't really steal the show. But it was a big one. Big episode.
Yeah, great
big scene in the episode.
I agree. Yeah, and because then we're with Dustin, Lucas, Max, and Steve in the woods. So it's nighttime at this point. They're walking along the train tracks and they have their flashlights out. And Dustin and Lucas start getting in this heated argument again, where Lucas is finding out that Dustin had kept Dart, that had then killed Mew, his cat, and they're going back and forth still about like, hey, well, you shared all of our secrets with Max too, and Dustin's upset about that still, and they're kind of going on, and Steve is he's like, all right, guys, that's great, but I'm hearing something in the distance over there. I'm gonna go check it out. So he's running over. Yeah.
Yeah, this is where, like, we've had sort of two separate storylines rolling on. We've had the Lucas and Max story, and we have the Steve and Dustin story kind of going for the last few episodes.
Yeah.
And now those two groups are converging together.
That's right.
And this is that, like, that moment of shared information where all of a sudden everybody learns everything that's going on. And you can see Dustin and Lucas clearly frustrated with each other. They both talk about that the other one is breaking the rule of law, and that this has to be something that their party deals with, you know, and because they take their, you know, D&D roles almost into real life a little bit.
That's right.
And this is kind of how they govern their friend group.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
it's justifiable that they both made big mistakes here.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, then they're looking out over the edge of the cliff and looking into the distance. Lucas has his binoculars out, and they're saying they're going back to him at the Department of Energy. And so, meaning that's where Will is too. And all of these demogorgons, they
don't know that.
Well,
they don't know that Will's there.
It's almost like they know that that's where the hive is, right? Like that's the source.
Well, they know
all
the gate
points
is
lead
there.
back to the Department of Energy.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they know the main gate is there.
Yeah.
And that's about, you know, I think probably the extent of what they need to go, they're all heading back there.
Yes.
So anyway,
yeah.
we move on, and we meet up with Bob and the rest of the crew, who are in a power outage now, still in that security room. And Bob is trying to explain to Hopper, listen, you can't just go down there and flip a switch. You're going to need to know how to use the computer. Do you know how to speak BASIC?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no. And he looks to Dr. Owens. No. Nobody knows the computer code language BASIC except for Bob. So Bob says, hey, I guess it's me. And I like how he said, like, to Joyce, hey, just remember, Bob Newby, superhero.
That's right.
And then, of course, Hopper's going to say, well, here's a gun. Let me explain how to use a gun since you don't know how to use a gun. Yeah. And he shows him how to turn the safety on and off and, you know, what to do to pull the trigger. And he's like, just point and squeeze and you should be good. But then they're just going to let Bob go through the Demogorgon field down to the power to flip the power on and then computer code his way through turning all the lights back on.
Yeah, I did appreciate too, because when Bob is initially talking about BASIC and Hopper's like, oh, well, yeah, just show me how to do it really quick. Just explain it. It's like, I'll just teach you French while I'm at it too. I mean, this isn't just something that I could like give you a little cheat sheet and you'll be on your way. Like you have to understand this language. And there's
no way. Now, I'm still surprised that Hop didn't go with Bob. I feel like they could have gone together.
I thought that's almost where they were leading
that
things
Hop
at
would
first.
go down.
Yeah.
It's Hop would be like the security.
I agree.
Bob would be the computer tech, and then they would move on. But maybe they thought it was too dangerous to send multiple people. So Bob's out there on his own.
I thought the same thing, Eric, because I'm like, well, if Hopper was planning on going anyway, why didn't he just go with him?
No.
Because it seemed like that was initially what was happening, and then you saw Hopper back with the other group. So I'm like, oh, okay, I don't really know here, but clearly Bob is not comfortable with a gun. It is not his instinct to even be having a gun on him. There was one scene where I thought, oh Lord, like Bob is going to end up shooting himself. It seemed like or I was thinking like, is the safety even off at this point? But also
that was my
Eric,
thing. Like he's going to end up getting down there and the safety's going to be on.
I know.
And, like he's not going to remember how to turn it off. And you're just holding the gun now.
Also, I know when I was watching this, it's like we've seen though where, cause he just has a handgun and we've seen scenes where they're using rifles against these demo dogs, and it's still not really hurting them. So I'm thinking,
No.
what is really, I mean, if anything, he needs like a flamethrower. Otherwise, really, it's not going to matter so much. You need to run or have fire, and he doesn't have either of these things. So I think it's more of like a sense of like perceived protection, but it's really probably not going to be able to help him too much anyway.
I mean, it helps more than nothing, I suppose, but it doesn't help that much.
Yeah, and, now we're with Nancy and Jonathan, where they're at the Department of Energy gate, and it's locked because it's shut down with the power outage. So at that moment, too, Steve and the others are coming out of the woods. That's right. So like they're not getting through the gate. They're looking up, and at that moment they're seeing flashlights appearing, and it's Steve with the boys and Max, and they're all hearing these demo dogs like screaming at the Department of Energy. So they're just kind of locked out on the other side. But then we're back with Bob inside in the stairwell, where he's like in this boiler room, like he's in the basement area with his gun, and he's opening the door to see two people that are dead, but there's no demogorgons in sight. He's just seeing two bodies on the ground at this point. I kept expecting one to like pop out from the dark corner or something, but it didn't at this moment.
Well,
yeah,
I think that's a really good mechanism.
Yes.
Where they make you think that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it never does. But you're on the edge of your seat for nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like when they were looking for Dart, and, they give you that jump scare when, was it Mike looking through the locker room, I think, and then he ends up stumbling upon Max, who's already in there. And it's like, oh, it's just Max.
Oh,
it's fine.
Yeah, back at the school. Yes.
Back at the school.
Yeah.
I think Mike was the one going through the locker room looking, and Max is the one that's popping out. Not really popping out, but is just present.
Exactly.
And they give you that jump scare feeling.
Yeah.
But this was like, you are waiting for the jump scare, and it never shows up.
Yeah.
Before we go any farther, one of the questions I had, how were Jonathan and Nancy arriving at the Department of Energy? Do you remember? Because I can't come up with why they would be there. Because they were just there.
We left them when they were leaving Murray's.
Right.
And why would
That's the last we saw them.
Is it... Oh, maybe Jonathan knew that Will was going to be there? I don't know.
That's the only thing I can think of that
Did
Jonathan might have knew from Joyce somehow that's where they were. But otherwise, I don't understand how they're there.
That's a really good point. Yeah, why did they roll up? Because this is obviously way before cell phones. No one is texting. No one is calling saying, hey, we're here, meet up with us. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. So that's the thing. That was the only piece that got me. Like, Steve and the gang are coming through the woods because they saw the Department of Energy. They know what the demogorgons are doing. Jonathan and Nancy are largely disconnected from this, as they've been on their own quest to out the truth.
That's a good point.
And what made them pull up at the Department of Energy? All I can
think of is
no idea.
Yeah, did the power go out? Maybe they're just thinking, oh, we're going back to the original source. That's all I can think of, is that they sort of were looking for the rest of the gang. They weren't finding anyone at home anywhere, and they just figured, let's go back to almost what's become now home base, which everything always leads back to the Department of Energy. Could have been a little deleted scene where they explain that away more. I'm not sure. But then we have...
That's the only thing that I was stuck on.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But we do then have Bob functionally getting the power on. He does functionally get the power on down in the basement there without having any jump scares. He does actually get the power flipped back on, and And yeah.
Yeah, because we have
So then
Bob and he's on what looks
ahead.
like the oldest computer ever, figuring all of this out.
Yeah.
And he's noticing they see the stairwell isn't clear anymore because after he gets the power back on, then Dr. Owens is looking at the monitors again. And so he's able to see, all right, like where are these demo dogs at this point? And he's seeing one around a corner. So Bob then turns on one of the sprinklers in the other stairwell on the east side to distract him, right? So he's making a noise on the other side using technology to get him to go in a different direction, which is great. Yeah. But then after he does that, he forgets the gun on the desk, and it's just like, no, Bob, like, go back and get the gun. And because they focus in on, yep, this gun is just left behind. So
they clearly made a point of showing the visual that gun was just sitting there. That being said, like you said, I don't know that Bob would have been able to do anything with that gun, no matter what he did.
It was not his instinct to have that gun on him. It didn't even really show him like panicking looking for it. I think he just it was just left behind and forgotten about. So then we're with Hopper and the rest of the group that is, inside, and they're on the move to the door and they're leaving. But Dr. Owens, though, does stay behind. He's on the mic helping Bob navigate his way out of that boiler room and out of the Department of Energy. And we also see Joyce waiting at the door because Joyce does not want to leave Bob just in there. And so Dr. Owens is telling Bob to stop because there's a demogorgon just around the corner, and he's telling him to get in this closet. And I love how Bob is like questioning the move. I'm like, just do it, Bob. Just listen to Dr. Owens. Like, he's looking at these cameras. Just listen and do it. Why are you questioning this? And
like, go now.
Yeah.
Like, do not second guess this. What are we doing?
Right. So the Demogorgon must have heard him at this point. He's hearing him creep into the closet, and you just see this great scene of Bob inside this closet, and you see this shadow appear under the door because you could see it's thinking like, oh, do I want to bust in through here? Because these creatures, they love the hunt, right? So he's listening for any sounds and, using all of his senses, but it gets bored. It decides to walk away and at least creep around the other bend, possibly to lure him out. So it's Bob then is saying, well, this is now my time to exit. So he is opening the closet door, and just then this broom just falls onto the ground, and you see it in slow motion. It is making a sound, and you just know, oh God. This is where it's just going to raise its attention. And so this Demogorgon is hearing the sound of the broom hitting the ground and is turning back. And you just see slow motion. Bob is running because Dr. Owens is saying, you just have to run now. Now you just need to get the hell out of there.
Yep, it's time to go.
And Bob is just running and running down the hall. And I'm saying, though, why is he stopping? He busts through the door and the door closes behind him and he's stopping. Why is he stopping? Bob, just keep going. Oh my God, this scene, I was just screaming at my TV in this moment. I mean, I remembered what happened here, but it's like he sees Joyce, they make eye contact. Freedom is right there. Oh, it's so horrible. And he stops after he busts through the door, and this thing is just attacking Bob. The scene is awful. Hopper is shooting at it. It's not doing anything. And again, Hopper has the rifle, and it's still not doing anything. And Bob is now just being fully attacked. And as much
Hopper has to physically pull Joyce out of the building.
Yeah, Joyce is screaming. She's watching this. It's horrifying. And Hopper has to grab her and drag her out of the building. Yeah.
And something that we did not mention is that Bob said to Hopper, hey, don't wait for me.
Yeah.
Like, listen, we understand how this could go. Like, get everybody out.
Yeah.
So Bob had already given the okay for this. Now, the way I view this scene is a little slightly different, where Bob got through the door and the door shuts to the lobby, and then we see the Demogorgon like slam against the door.
Mm-hmm. You see the dent,
like
right?
You see the dent into the door.
Yes.
Like, hey, that's a heavy door and it can't get through.
Oh, so he just thought, all right, it's done.
I think he thinks, I got it. We're good. And then there's another one. That came from another area that they did not see, that just wiped him out from the side. And that was that. And so that's how I kind of view. I think he thought when that door shut and that Demogorgon busted into that door and didn't get through, that he was home free.
Wait, it didn't,
because Joyce is standing right there.
it didn't bust through the door? It came from
I don't
another.
think so.
I think it busted through that door.
Maybe.
I thought the door flew open.
But I think that door
then.
stays pretty solid. No.
All right, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the scene again, because I thought what happened was it like busted against the door. It made the dent. Bob just stops, and then the door flew open because it finally used enough force that it busted that door open.
Well,
and attacked Bob.
we just see Bob.
Yeah.
And then the Demogorgon come from the side and go bam, and just take him out. Like, there's no like visual of the door.
Oh, I thought it
until
busted
later,
open.
and that
All
door's
right.
still shut later. So
Making a note
I don't
here.
know that. No, well, regardless,
Yes.
we know there are many
Oh, it's
Demogorgon
true. It's not just
floating
one.
around the hospital.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I think he feels as though he escaped the one. They're hive-minded.
thinking-
They all know where they're going.
Right.
They know where the prey is.
Like, if I had these monsters chasing after me in this building, I would just be like, the goal is to get the hell out of this building, right? Like, I wouldn't still be just hanging out. All right, cool. Like, stopped in the lobby. I'm just gonna like, oh,
Well,
no.
But this is also a curious point. Like, even to that idea, like, you step outside the door to the building and now you're on the sidewalk and like everybody's cool here.
I know.
Like, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, get out of
No,
here.
exactly.
Go far away. I don't know. That is, but I will say this is one of those scenes I feel like they did a really good job setting you up for.
Yes.
They set you up without the jump scare.
Yeah.
They set you up by Bob being real quiet, getting out of it.
It was.
Then he won the race to the lobby. But then they had that, like, you know, that zoom in on Bob that just lingers a second too long. And you're like, something's not right here. And all of a sudden, it's over.
You know,
for
it
Bob.
wasn't a true victory. Him coming through the door,
No.
it's like, this is not. Even the first watch, you all knew what was being.
Yeah.
What was,
you know, you're like, oh no.
yeah.
Like, you feel like that moment of success where he comes through the door and he's like, Joyce. But then they leave that camera on him just a little too long and you go, oh no.
And for Joyce
and then
to
out of nowhere,
to have to
boom.
witness this too, it's just horrible. Like, it's just so heartbreaking. I mean, Bob has been, without even knowing the full picture here,
Yep.
he has been the hero now multiple times. I mean, this entire story wouldn't have been possible
Don't forget.
without Bob.
Bob Newby, superhero.
Wow. He is, I mean, I am seeing Bob with a whole new lens this rewatch. I feel like his character is awesome. And I love even the actors, like, he knew that he was going to die, like, taking this role. Like, he knew it wasn't going to be as long lived. I think it actually lasted. His character had more of a critical role than maybe was even originally planned, but he just wanted a heroic death, and I will say they gave it to him. This was a really heroic death. I mean, he not only, I mean, saved Hopper from being just wiped out in the earlier episode, but now he's made it possible for them to escape. I mean, without Bob, they just wouldn't have made it out. And the only person who is now left in the Department of Energy is Dr. Owens, right? I mean, everyone else,
Correct.
We don't know where he's at, but everyone else is out at this point.
He's still like in that security room.
Yeah.
It appears as though anybody who's not in the security room is dead.
Right.
And everybody else that we know is out.
And then just as they're leaving the Department of Energy, we see Jonathan pulling up in his car. I love the timing of all this. It seems like there's the perfect moment of the kids walking out of the woods earlier when Jonathan and Nancy are pulling up in the car. Now we have this perfect moment where Jonathan is pulling up with the car. And so it is kind of funny how that works out really well for them. But then Hopper is picking up the rest of the kids. The rest of the kids, like in his car. So we have then this flash scene again of Bob being fed on by these demogorgons. And I'm thinking, is that
like,
in
case you didn't think Bob was dead, we're going to clarify it. He's very dead.
He is dead. Yeah, he is. He is gone. I don't think outside of when that one young demo dog, Dart, was feeding on the cat, we really don't see them doing this too much. So it was almost like
you
startling.
see it like, so when there's a lot of them, you'll maybe see it like, you know, in the background, but it's certainly not featured like this.
Yeah.
Like there were like 5 or 6 of them on him.
Yeah.
While he's laying there dead. But it's also the first time that we've seen a character that we are attached to actually get killed by a demogorgon in front of us.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
Barb, it's all like implied.
Yes.
You know, it's in the pool. That's about as close as we get there.
Yeah,
but
that's
this
true.
is like spot on, like, hey, by the way, this in fact did happen. And it's not in the Upside Down. It is in our present world.
Yes, that's a great point. And then we're back at the Byers house where Hop is trying to call someone for help, but no one is hearing him. And it's like, Hopper, I think we're past this at this point. Like, we're on our own here. And even the kids are saying, like, yeah, good luck with that, Hop. Like, this is not going to happen. He's telling the kids that they need to stay together and wait for help. And Hopper is also trying to, you know, console Joyce by really just sitting with her. I mean, really, there's really nothing that can be said at this point. He's just trying to be present with her.
Hopper calling like the authorities is the same as Joyce being like, I want my son transferred to a hospital.
Yeah, really? It was weird. Yeah. They're just
what are they
back
really
on old
do?
Habits. Yeah, thinking, hey, this is what we do. You know what I mean? Like, I think hanging on to that thread of maybe normalcy, which does not apply at all to what's happening.
Does not apply. Not in this sense. No.
No. So then we see, you know, Mike is seeing the games that Bob had brought over for Will. So those different mind teasers and reminding the group that, hey, you know, Bob was the original founder of the Hawkins AV Club. Mr. Clark actually learned everything that he knows from Bob. And they need to somehow honor his death. And they're saying, maybe if we can stop this monster, we can stop the army too. So they're still calling him the shadow monster at this point. And if the shadow monster is inside of everything, that's when Dustin pipes in. He's saying, oh, like the mind flayer.
And there you go. We finally get like a word here connected.
Yes. And it's so ancient that it doesn't even know its own true home. So what's interesting here, Eric, I was thinking, this made me think back to the last episode with 11, where it was really all about her finding her home. This theme of home keeps coming up. And I just thought that even here with the mind flayer, the fact that it doesn't have a home, it's looking for its home. There's even some parallels, I guess, that you could draw between the mind flayer, this monster, and 11. Obviously, one is working for good, and the other is just looking to destroy everything, apparently. But that is now, this concept of home again comes up here. And Hopper's listening to them talk about the mind flayer, and he's like, this is a kid's game. Like, so now you're basing all...
That's the funniest part about all of this, is that, like, when Dustin is explaining what the mind flayer is, and it sounds very similar to what they're dealing with, Hop is like, this is a game. And at the same point, I'm like, yeah, I hear you, Hop. Like, it's not exactly like that, but it might be kind of like that. And he's like, so how do we stop the mind flayer? And he's like, well, we raise an undead army because they don't have brains, so the mind flayer can't control them, and then the undead army will kill the mind flayer. And they're like, okay, but we can't do that.
Right.
Like, and it's like, right, great. Well, that's where Dustin's like, well, that's why that is a game. Like that side of it is a game. How do we actually kill a mind flayer while we all have brains? Great question.
Yeah.
Great question.
And he's saying it wants to conquer us and be the master race. And they're kind of like, oh, like Nazis? And it's like, well, it sees everything else as inferior. And it wants to destroy everything else. So it wants to be the only thing that is left in the world.
Right.
So, Nancy is then suggesting, well, they kill it, so then that would kill everything else. So obviously the answer, which I agree with Nancy here, it's like, you have to get to the root here. You have to get to the main source of this hive mind. And Joyce is coming out saying, we have to kill it, and I want to kill it. Joyce is just all about, we need to take this thing out now.
And I think there's concern. There's like some unspoken concern here too, where if Will is connected to the hive and you kill the hive, then Will goes with it.
Right.
And that's very plausible. But even Joyce knows, like, this has got to stop.
Yeah.
And so
Mike
she's giving the okay right there. And but at the same time, because he's connected to the hive, they know he's the ticket. Yeah. And he is the ticket into figuring out what can do that. Where is this thing? How do we fight it? But you can't do that if Will knows where he is, because he's the spy and he's spying on them for the mind flayer. So they have to put him in a space where he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah, they have to confuse the mind flayer who's looking through Will's eyes so that they're throwing him off. They're putting him in a spot where they don't know where he is so that he can control everything, right? So Mike and Hopper are cleaning out the shed, and then everyone's kind of joining in to...
Yeah, it's a whole team effort to, like, hang tarps.
Yeah.
And, tape things up and get things squared away so that even Will sitting in his own shed isn't going to know where he is.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, good effort here, guys. But then, as we see in a little bit, it doesn't take much for it to figure out their exact location, but we're not quite there yet. But right now we have Nancy telling Steve that helping, I think Nancy is trying to kind of warm a little bit back up to Steve, make things less awkward here. And, it's really cool that you've been helping the kids out. And Steve is just like, whatever, Nancy, like, just, it's fine. Like he's sort of just wanting to focus on the mission at hand at this point and not get distracted by Nancy. He's still feeling a little sour here. And then we also have Dustin apologizing to Lucas about Dart. Yep. And he said that he noticed the electricity between Max and him. And I think
he saw them holding hands, and Lucas is like, no, she's not my girlfriend. She was just scared.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I could feel it. I could feel it. And he's like, feel what? He's like, the electricity, which is what Steve had told him about.
Yes.
But Lucas has no idea what he's talking about. But Dustin now, but like the irony is, here we are just a little while after that whole conversation, and Dustin is now like, oh, I get it though. Like I understand what that is.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. And then Max is telling Mike that Elle sounded really awesome, and Mike is like, hey, just because you know everything doesn't mean you're in the group. Come on. It's like, whoa, Max.
Come on, Mike.
It's like, well, Mike, chill out. Like, relax here. I don't really know why Mike he's going back to being really angry at Max again. This doesn't really, I feel like they kind of moved past this in the gym that time. So it just feels weird. I don't know. He obviously gets very sensitive whenever 11 is brought up, but.
This is why I have a hard time with Mike sometimes. Yeah. And I think a lot of people do. And it's like, I totally understand that you feel super connected to 11. I get it.
Yeah.
But like, you have to be able to move on a little. Right now, to your knowledge, she's gone.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to move on and find like your next great love, but you have to be willing to understand that the other guys in your group really like this girl. She now knows everything. She has seen it with her own eyes and is helping you prep the room for Will. Get over yourself, bro.
This is rough.
She's part of the group, whether you want to anoint her or not.
Yeah, this is a rough scene. It doesn't really make any sense. She's literally at this house with you guys preparing. She's risking her life in this situation, and now you're saying that she's not part of the group. What are you doing? This is ridiculous.
I did not care for that.
No. But then meanwhile, they're still transforming this shed overnight, and and I'm also thinking, Eric, is this spring break or something? Like, what's happening with school? What's happening in this town? I guess.
Who cares? They don't care about that anymore.
Yeah. So then, because it's happening, like they're working overnight. They're showing them the sun is rising again, and they're still working on this shed, and they're trying to figure this out. So they've all stayed up all night doing this. And
by the way, how long was that sedative for Will? Like, I mean, they knocked him out for days.
Yes, I guess I don't know if they kept giving him more. I don't know. It was.
Who knows?
Yeah, I
saw it once.
It was injected, so I guess that was a pretty big needle. I don't know, but it was pretty rough. Will's a little kid. I don't know, but. They have Will.
I also want to know how they knew that was what that was. Like, they just injected him with whatever was in the nearest needle and hoped it knocked him out.
It's like, hopefully he's alive. I don't know. Right.
That's just a real dicey roll of the dice.
Yeah. And, well, they have Will strapped down into this chair like they're going to be, like, interrogating him or something. There's these really...
It is definitely an interrogation room.
Intense flashlights, headlights rather, is what I'm looking for, like, on him. And Hopper's waking him up with something under his nose. I don't know if that was bleach, or I don't think they have like access to smelling salts here. Either way, they're waking him up.
It looked like bleach.
Yeah.
But all it was anything that smelled real strong.
Yeah.
Like that's all you were looking for there.
So we have Mike, Jonathan, Joyce, and Hopper in the shed with him when they're waking Will up. And he's asking, where am I? Why am I tied up? He is really, really aggravated and upset, but it is not really in Will's voice. I mean, it's Will, but he's just screaming, why am I tied up? Why am I tied up? Let me go. And he started to sound very possessed, even the way that some of his voice, he was coming out. I think that they altered that a little bit for this scene where he's saying, let me go. And it sounded almost like demonic.
I mean, he's clearly not himself. Right. Everybody knows this. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how much they voice altered him as much as him changing his own voice to make it sound that way.
Yeah.
For some of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some like editing post-production with all of that. Yeah. But they definitely in this scene, more than the others, made him sound more demonic as he was just saying, let me go, let me go, let me go, over and over and over and over and over again.
And then Joyce is really trying to bring him more back into himself, though, by asking, do you know what March 22nd is? It's your birthday. You know, when you turned 8, I gave you that box of 120 crayons and you drew this huge spaceship. You used all the colors. It was a rainbow. And, you know, and she hung it up and was so proud of him. And he was embarrassed. But she was just so proud of him in that moment. And then Jonathan is coming in and he's asking him, you know, do you remember when Dad left and we stayed up all night to build Castle Byers, just like you drew it? And it started raining, but we just kept building it anyway. And we needed to finish it. And then Mike is coming in and saying, you know, when we first met, it was the first day of kindergarten and I had no friends and felt so alone and scared until I saw you on the swings. And I asked if you wanted to be my friend and you said yes. And it was the best thing that I'd ever done. So Joyce is just pleading, you know, if you're in there, please talk to us, please. And after all this, Will is then still saying in a quieter voice, let me go. And as he's saying this, though, Hopper is looking at him from the other side and he's noticing he's tapping his fingers against the side of the chair. And so Will is talking, he's saying one thing, but then tapping with his other hand and he's realizing this is Morse code. And Steve is all, what's that? Yeah. But I love how the rest of the kids know exactly what Hopper's saying when Hopper's like, yeah, trying to give them little lines and dots. And apparently the rest of this group is very hip on Morse code other than Steve,
that's not surprising. I mean, they're all part of like an AV club, and not that AV clubs are going to like, you know, focus in on Morse code, but it is a lot of communication. And
yeah, it's true.
When it comes to their D&D experiences, writing in codes and creating codes is definitely part of what they do. And of course, as a viewer, even if you weren't aware of what Morse code is, we have been privy to it as it has been a communication piece between Eleven and Hopper. So we've seen this make its presence felt, and here we are with Will, who just knows Morse code and is tapping away, which is very interesting because it implies that Will can be present, let the Mind Flayer say its stuff, but then also secretly communicate away from what the Mind Flayer knows. I'm curious. I don't know exactly how that is functional, because if he's thinking, let me do this Morse code off to the side, wouldn't the Mind Flayer know that?
Like, is he so proficient in Morse code that this like teeny corner of his brain can still be I think this is a suspend disbelief moment where we have to just let go of the idea that the Mind Flayer, or that it takes brain power to compute Morse code. One or the other. Well, either way, he's tapping away. The kids are writing down each signal from Will, and they're spelling out "close gate."
Well, they do a really good job. They like blast music at him, and they play "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" And then John and Joyce are basically just talking about stories with Will, trying to bring Will back out of it, but not really trying to bring Will out of it. Now that they know what's going on, it's more of a keep the Mind Flayer occupied while Will is able to give Morse code. And so Hop, meanwhile, has got a device where he's like just clicking away and relaying the Morse code to the kids who are in the kitchen, who can then write down the dots and dashes and calculate what the letters are. And it, as you said, comes up to close gate.
Yeah, and just then the phone rings at the Byers house, and Nancy rips it off the wall. So now we're down to what? This is the third phone that's been destroyed at the Byers.
Just don't have a phone there anymore.
Yeah. And just ripping it off the wall, and now Will is going into this like trance where he's going into the rapid eye movements again. And Eric, I will also say in this moment, I think these are just his eyes. I think that
I will agree. I agree. Yeah, I thought because of
when that first happened,
when the first time it happened, I thought, oh, this is like a worm
something
situation
physical.
And they made it look bigger or more bold to like move the eyes back and forth. But then I also saw it in a later episode where I feel like 11 did it and then somebody else did. And I was like, oh, maybe not. So I do. I'm with you.
We're not used to seeing, it's like, yeah, people's eyes move when they're dreaming, but this is like a very intense
very aggressive eye movement with your eyelids closed.
Yes. And, Hop is saying he knows where we are. So I guess like it picked up on the phone ringing, and that was all. It was just an instant of that. It's like, I know where you guys are. The signal was sent.
I think a lot of, growing up in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Your home phone rings, you know what that sound is.
Yeah.
You immediately know what that sound is. So Will, home phone rings, he hears it, he knows that's his phone. I'm at home. And then the Mind Flayer knows he's at their house.
Picks up on that.
And off the Mind Flayer goes, and you can see almost a racing of the Mind Flayer through the wilderness and trying to get to the Byers house before Joyce basically knocks out Will.
Yeah, and Hopper is grabbing the guns and asking Jonathan if he knows how to use it, and Nancy's like, I've got this, and grabs the gun, and Steve has his bat, and Lucas has his slingshot out.
Such a great scene. Like, I love it when they're all together and they're all like jammed into the living room, bat, slingshot, like Nancy with a shotgun.
So
like,
good.
This is so great. And the rest of them just standing there like cannon fodder. Like, I don't know, but they're all just banded together, almost backs against each other as they are hearing a demogorgon outside the house.
Yup, and I love this at the end of this episode so much because, you're hearing these demo dogs kind of then, they're there, but then you're hearing them squealing and kind of whimpering, and you're hearing crashing, and it's like, oh wait, how is this possibly happening? We know that 11 was also on her way back to this house. So it's just like, who's the one person who's missing from this group that would actually save them? And that just at that moment where you're thinking, maybe it's 11, then you see this demo dog being thrown through the window, and it's just limp, like on the floor in the living room. And this thing is not getting up, and they're all looking at it like, is it dead? Is it what's happening? Like, they're prepared to be battling these things, and now they just have this like dead demogorgon on the ground. They've never seen this happen. And then they pan up, and you just look at the door, and you see that chain lock sliding over on its own, and they're all just watching, still prepared to battle. And the door slowly creaks open, and you see the shoes at first. The camera's down at her feet, and then it pans up, and you see 11 standing there, and in her full eyeshadow, hair slicked back look, which no one in the group has seen her like this before, too, which so that kind of
not even Hopper.
No, not even Hopper. And this,
and then Mike steps out from the crowd like, oh my God. And
the look on Mike's face.
You kind of cut to 11 with this little smile almost.
Yep.
And then that's it.
And I'm cheering, yay, Eleven's back. Like, I was so happy. And the whole group is just standing there. Yeah, and that's all you see is them making eye contact. And Mike is all like, oh my God, the love of my life is back.
Yeah.
You get to see it all over his face. Yeah.
I mean, what an ending.
I love
what an ending to this episode.
It made me so happy. Yeah.
And
it's like, wow, they could have ended the season here so easily, right? Like, we still get one more episode to the season. I'm thinking,
they can't end the season there. There's still too much to do.
They could. Okay. But they could have, is all I mean. Like,
I mean, Will is still possessed.
Well,
like, you can't...
yeah, but I'm not saying end the series here. I just mean you could end the season here.
No, I don't think you're ending the season there. I mean, I understand what you're saying, like, but Stranger Things has done. They've made it very compartmentalized, where every season is going to come to a wrap.
Yeah,
they don't typically do like cliffhangers.
Well,
even season 4 to season 5 is not really a cliffhanger. It just kind of sets the tone for what's coming up next.
We'll see. Next, we might want to continue to debate that after we talk next week about the next episode.
So now we're going to jump into our IMDb rating segment of the episode, where we talk about our ratings and the ratings that you all have voted on IMDb, plus our favorite and least favorite characters from this episode. Amanda, what do you want to start with? Favorite or least favorite character?
Well, I will say I went with Bob for being my favorite character in this episode because he saved the day. He is the only reason why they were able to escape the Department of Energy. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, he wasn't only the hero here, he was the hero, you know, in the previous episode where he saved Hopper. I mean, without Bob, we wouldn't have been as far as we are here. So Bob, without a doubt, is my favorite in this episode. Plus, it's the last opportunity I'll have to give Bob. I think I gave Bob my favorite in a different episode as well.
You did.
Where he saved Hopper. Yeah.
You gave it to him in Pollywog. I gave Bob favorite character in Dig Dug. And I'll tell you this, I'm also going to give it to him here again.
Yeah.
Last chance. Listen, Bob Newby, superhero. Like, what a great character, and what a great story Bob is from the beginning of this season all the way to the end, where he comes off like just average Joe dude that does not belong in this group. Jonathan has a real hard time with him all the way towards sacrificing himself almost, not on purpose, but he's the one who goes out there. He's the one who tries to save everybody. And, you know.
Well, and as much as he doesn't, like, we say he doesn't fit in the group, he really does. Because as Mike pointed out, he was the OG AV Club kid. So he would have been in their group of friends as a kid, right?
He genuinely fits the group incredibly well.
Yes.
What he doesn't do early on is understand just how not normal this group is. Because he's trying to, like, hey, let's move to Maine. We can all just, like, start again. And, like, no, that's not going to happen, Bob.
Yeah.
So I will then go to my least favorite character in this episode. And there were only a couple that I really wanted to pick between, but I will pick Mike. I really disliked the Mike and Max scene at this point in time in the story. I thought that was very unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, why are we still putting Max down? It would have been much better with everybody else. Lucas and Dustin are, like, you know, maybe not on the best terms, but, you know, coming together a little bit.
Right.
Jonathan and Steve a little bit, Steve and Nancy a little bit. Like, everyone's kind of coming together for this moment, and yet Mike is not coming together at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's funny. We had the same exact picks for this one. Mike was my least favorite on this episode too. I honestly, it was tough to pick anyone. It was really only because of that brief scene with him where he was just so harsh to Max, as we said earlier, for no reason. It just was like, dude, calm down. What are you getting this upset still? She's clearly part of the group, so it was just weird. Who was going to be your second pick? I'm just curious.
The only other option I had was actually Hopper.
Oh, okay.
I really still feel like I don't understand why Hopper's not going with Bob on this. He was volunteering to go, and then he chose not to go.
Yeah.
And then, after everything you've been through, when Dustin starts explaining the mind flayer, and you're like, dude, this is just a game. Like, Hopper, suspend disbelief a little bit here.
Yeah.
Okay? What are you talking about? Which is the same as Dr. Owens being like, oh, this glass is real good. Is it? Like, are we really going to stand? You're going to stand there and say that this glass is fine? It's the tough. I don't care.
No.
What are you saying to me?
No. You're right. It doesn't make any sense. I know. And Hopper also on the phone trying to call some type of authority to help them out. It's like, we're past this. We are way past this. It actually makes a lot more sense to be listening to Dustin talking about this quote unquote kids game in relation to what's happening than to try to call any type of authority. So, yeah, but
I will say though, to give Mike, who will remain my least favorite character, a little bit of credit, he got Joyce to understand, hey, we need to knock him out.
True.
We need to take him out of the game. That was Mike's best thing that he did in that whole episode.
Yeah, no, it's true. Good call. But so Eric, with these ratings though, I am very curious to hear what you gave this episode.
I am going to ignore last week completely. And I'm going to continue on my path of thinking with the fans, they just keep getting better and better and better. Every time I sit down, I'm like, this is another banger episode. Love it even more than the last one. And for me, I am always going to go and say the episodes where everybody is together.
Yeah.
Not just that they're all pictured doing their own things. No, they're all in the same spot.
Yeah.
That to me is the best. When they are working as a cohesive, like 10-person team.
Yep.
10? I don't know. I just made up that number.
Yeah.
Let's see. The 4 boys, right? Steve, Jonathan, Nancy, Max, Joyce, and Hopper.
Yeah.
10.
Yep.
And 11. 11 makes 11.
Yep. Oh, weird.
How about that?
Oh.
So when you have those 11 all in the same spot, and we didn't really have 11 until the very end, but still, that's my favorite episode.
Yeah.
Those are always going to be my favorites. I love seeing how they can all work together as a group. And therefore, I'm going to give it my highest rating of the year, which is a 9. I do know that IMDb's highest is already a 9.1, so I would expect them to at least be close to that because they have also gone up and up and up and up and up, except for the last episode, which was a 6. So I expect this to be a high episode as well. I think this is just the Stranger Things model, like it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and yeah, I'm here for it. So I'm giving it a 9 flat.
Yeah, I love this episode. To me, this is actually my favorite one yet. I gave this one a 9.3.
There you go.
I could have
That's
even gone a little bit
actually a lot
higher.
more for you.
Yeah.
Like, because your highest episode was an 8.7. Mine was an 8.8.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like...
I was even like,
I'm like
9,
almost
6?
up 0.2, every single time.
Yeah. But I was even thinking like 9.6, 9.7. I stuck with 9.3. So very curious to hear what the people rate this as.
I'm going to take a look here for a second. I mean, 9.6, that's real high. 9.6 has got to be for like the best episode of the series. I don't think this is that. But this is really good. Okay, the people have spoken. And the people agree with us. This is their best episode of the year as well. It is a 9.2.
Oh.
So we've got them surrounded. 9.2. I don't disagree with that at all. It's the best episode so far. And I think as a rewatch podcast, there are scenes from this episode that stick out to me. Most notably, Bob not making it through the lobby. That is the most memorable scene I have from this episode. Like, I did not forget that one little bit. Some of the stuff they did at the house, I remembered some of it, but not all of it. You know, this is only my second time rewatching this season, so I haven't watched it over and over and over and over again. But yeah, this was very good, very exciting. Really liked the gameplay thought process. Anytime they can bring D&D like into real life, I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, this is good.
Also, Eric, now I'm like obsessed with the fact that 11 is literally the 11th person in this group. I think that is.
I mean, I could have named her number 1. Thank you. Well, they needed to add Max for that.
Well, it's like, was that intentional? I don't know. Well, and Bob is included in that too, though, now. And now he's gone, so
he's not.
Yeah.
I also included Will in that group, and he's definitely not working with them, although he's not working against them. He gave them the code.
Yeah.
He gave them the Morse code, so he's still part of the group.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. If you could please follow us on our socials, our Instagram, our TikTok, and our YouTube channel, and make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, repost, share, all the fun stuff you can do on your socials. We really appreciate all of that. You can also check out our full episodes on WeRunOnReruns.com, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast player. And for Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching the season finale of Stranger Things Season 2 this week, episode number 9. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.